Welcome, folks, to I guess our first broadcast here on Infocasualties. Today's episode is called "Don't Tread on Me." In light of the recent things that have happened here in the last couple of weeks, it saw a growing trend here in America. I always thought it would be a rumor, but it looks like we're on our way to disarming the public. We have some of the first things I want to talk about is Mayor Bloomberg says cops should go on strike until Americans give up their guns. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg told CNN's Piers Morgan last night that he doesn't understand why police officers across the country don't stand up collectively and say, "We're going to go on strike. We're not going to protect you unless you, the public, through your legislator, do what's required to keep us safe." We've been hearing a lot of that here recently. Earlier this year, the New York Times reprinted a Department of Justice press release and slapped this title on the top of it. As violent crime has decreased across the country, a disturbing trend has emerged. Rising numbers of police officers are being killed. Bloomberg and the New York Times are both wrong. In 2008, 10 times more civilians, regular people, were killed by cops than cops were killed by perps. In 2011, 72 cops were shot and killed in the entire U.S., while in LA County alone, cops shot and killed 54 suspects the same year. 22% of those people were unarmed. As Scott Ritter reported at Reason this morning, farmers, ranchers, commercial fishermen, loggers, garbage collectors, truck drivers, construction workers, pilots, steel workers, roofers, and others are far more likely to face death on the jobs than police or firefighters, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And as Choi Chow wrote earlier this year, 2008 was the 10-year low for police officers being killed, and 2012 is, so far, year to date, down 49% from last year. Bloomberg is the commander of the seventh biggest army in the world. Went on to say police officers want to go home to their families, and we're doing everything we can to make their job more difficult, but more importantly, more dangerous, by leaving guns in the hands of people who shouldn't have them and letting people who have those guns buy things like armor-piercing bullets. The statistics say that the jobs of police officers are getting increasingly safer. After all, even in the smallest departments now have access to battle-tested body armor, weaponry, vehicles, and unmanned drones. SWAT and raid training courtesy of outfits like Academia. The company formerly known as Blackwater now trains officers who conduct warrant service, fugitive apprehension, SWAT operations, the drug searches, warrants, who are in need of sound tactics and techniques. Assets for fortunate funds from the Department of Justice, and a neutered and spayed Fourth Amendment courtesy of the United States Supreme Court. Thanks to all that, cops are more likely than ever to return safely to their families every night. But what about the rest of us? What about Kelly Thompson, who screamed for his father while 5 cops beat him to death? Or Patricia Cook, shot to death by a deranged alcoholic with a badge? Or Andrew Scott, killed during a wrong door raid? Or Nick Christie, gagged and pepper sprayed to death by prison guards? Or Seth Adams, shot 4 times by a cop behind his family business, then left to die? Or Wendell Allen, who was unarmed when a New Orleans cop shot and killed him during a raid? Or Marley Graham, the 18-year-old New Yorker shot and killed by plainclothes cops for trying to flush a small bag of marijuana down the toilet? Or Kyle Miller, killed by Colorado police for waving a BB gun in the air? Or Todd Blair, killed by the Utah police for raising a golf club above his head? That's a small number of names from the last year or so. A complete list is impossible, though you could spend months calling names from local media outlets. It'd be significantly longer if we included people who were shot but didn't die, or people who were shot at by cops It would be even longer if we included people who were beaten, intimidated, wrongfully arrested, incarcerated, or otherwise abused by police officers. Didn't these folks want to go home to their families? Didn't they want to be safe when they were in their homes with their families? They didn't get memorials. Their hometowns didn't shut down traffic for their funerals. The mayor didn't speak at their prayer vigil, if they even had a prayer vigil. Their congressman did not specifically speechify about them on C-SPAN. No one proposed laws in their honor. No city or state official called for a national conversation about anything. In most cases, here's what happened, and often happens: cops kill who kill get a paid vacation, and the local district attorney or state attorney determines that protocol was followed. The cops comes back. The cop comes back with a tan and a mandate. A big ugly shrug is standard operating procedure. Maybe Bloomberg is right. Maybe America's cops should go on strike. There's an article by Mike Riggs at thereason.com. He's not the only one calling for gun control. We have the documentary filmmaker Michael Moore pleads for gun control after the Colorado theater shooting. He says he's sick of this. More than a decade after he released the documentary Bowling for Columbine about another tragic Colorado massacre, filmmaker Michael Moore says he is sick of having to keep addressing this issue of gun control. In an interview with CNN's Piers Morgan, why does everybody go on Piers Morgan to talk about gun control? Last night, Moore pleaded for more restrictive measures on gun ownership in the wake of the horrific massacre in Aurora, Colorado movie theater last week. If people would just rise up and say, "Damn it, this is not the America I'm going to live in. This is too great of a country to let this happen again. I'm not going to let this happen again," Moore said. He continued, and I'm not going to come on another one of these damn TV shows. I highly doubt it. I bet he's probably got another 8 interviews lined up on 8 different damn TV shows after one of these shootings. Pierce, he added, "I'm sick of this. I refuse it. I refuse to live in a country like this, as I said before, and I'm not leaving. So therefore, what am I going to do? It's got to change." In this interview, he urged President Barack Hussein Obama to be a leader on more restrictive gun measures, even though the White House has signaled it likely won't be a topic in the campaign. Moore referenced Obama's speech last Friday in the wake of the Colorado shooting, when Obama reflected on what the tragedy could mean personally, because his daughters go to the movies. Moore begins, when he said, what if it were them? Well, what if it were them last Thursday night? Would you stand at the microphone the next day and say, "I feel your pain"? Is this really what you say? Moore asked. And it's the end of the article. You can see there's an article from businessinsider.com. It has a video with it. You can go watch that on YouTube or CNN. Alright, and one more celebrity calling for gun control. Why not? Because all three these things go together. The government calls for gun control, then the media, your so-called news pushes it, and then Hollywood pushes it. So Seinfeld star Jason Alexander unleashes passionate 1,700-word or tweet calling for gun control in wake of Colorado shooting by Larry McShane at the New York Daily News. There was no yada yada at all when Seinfeld star Jason Alexander took to Twitter with an impassioned and certainly more than 140 character call for a ban on assault style weapons. Alexander, in a message to his 135,725 followers, said the movie theater rampage that left 12 dead in Colorado convinced him to write the posting that drew both applause and insults. These are the weapons that maniacs acquire to wreak murder and mayhem to wreak murder and mayhem on innocents. You mean the same weapons that our police force are armed with? Alexander wrote in the piece, which went up on Sunday. Excuse me, folks. They are not the same as handguns to help homeowners protect themselves from intruders. They are not the same thing as hunting rifles or sporting rifles. These weapons are designed for harm and death on big scales. So why do our police need them? He didn't say that, I'm saying that. Alexander addressed the concerns of two critics who suggested banning guns would be as effective as banning fast cars or tomatoes. So he takes the obvious one to dismiss. He goes, I believe tomatoes and cars have a purpose other than killing. He wrote, what purpose does an AR-15 serve to a sportsman that a more standard hunting rifle does not serve? Basically, the purpose of an assault style weapon is to kill more stuff, more fully, faster, and more from further away. He continued, to achieve maximum lethality. Hardly the primary purpose of tomatoes and sports cars. I don't know. Some would argue on the sports cars, the purpose of the sports car is to go faster and like see how fast you can go. Alexander also took on those who assert that the solution is more guns, not less. Then there are the folks who write that if everyone in Colorado had a weapon, this maniac would have been stopped, said Alexander. Perhaps, but I do believe that the element of surprise, tear gas, and head-to-toe Kevlar protection, I'm glad he noted that he had head-to-toe body armor like a SWAT team member, might have given him a distinct edge. His followers fired back at Alexander, and the article continues, and they just talk crap. But Alexander closed by saying he didn't care about the effect of his opinion on his career. Bet you anything he gets on more shows now, and comedy, and like little late night shows. He gets a little bit more appearances, and he probably will be on a newscast soon enough. But his response is to, you cannot watch my stuff, or you can unfollow, and you can call me all the names you like. But this is not the time for reasonable people on both sides of the issue to be silent. Okay, so alright, so Americans are all supposed to surrender their guns and give up our freedoms, right? So here's my question is then, who then do we turn to? Do we turn to people like this right here in Dallas? Dallas police shoot and kill a man in South Dallas on Tuesday, prompting a tense situation with hundreds of angry, emotional neighbors. The shooting happened at about 5:30 p.m. at a known drug house in the 5300 block of Queen Street. According to Dallas Police Chief Brown, police were responding to a kidnapping call. Brown said 4 suspects fled the house via various means, including by breaking windows. He said officers saw a gun on a table in the house and that crack cocaine was also present. According to Brown, 8-year DPD veteran officer Brian Howden chased James Harper, fighting the suspect 3 times. Rodin was losing the fight and was exhausted when, according to Brown, Harper said, "You're going to have to kill me." Rodin feared for his life and fatally shot Harper, Brown said. Word of the shooting quickly spread through the neighborhood as family members and the curious rushed the scene, eventually amassing in the hundreds and prompting police to call for additional crowd control, including SWAT. In fact, officers armed with pepper ball guns and shield forced this crowd back amid reporters of people trying to cut through a fence to gain access to the shooting scene. The slain man's inconsolable mother and enraged father confronted police and media at the scene. Both said their 31-year-old son was unarmed and fleeing police when he was shot in the back. His father says no reason for him to be shot like a dog. If he's running away from them, ain't no reason. However, Brown downplayed the possibility. "We don't believe any of the family members witnessed anything," Brown said. adding that family members make similar claims on almost every shooting. He said he thought Harper might have been shot in the abdomen and hands. Still, the chief admitted that several questions remained and Harper might not have been armed when he was killed. Right there, might not have been armed when he was killed. We're also not able to find a gun. Mr. Harper Mr. Harper possessed, Brown said. We do not have a gun. The chief also said he was not certain that any of the responding officers, including Rodan, were ever fired upon. According to Brown, Harper has a lengthy criminal record that includes multiple charges of drug possession and manufacturing assault, evading arrest, and more. A second unidentified suspect was also arrested. Brown said no officers were arrested. Immediately following the shooting and throughout most of the evening, a chaotic crowd swelled, diminished, and regrouped. At one point, a fight seemed to break out. Despite the explosive situation, there were no reports of arrests nor injuries. Okay, so I mean, there's one case of a cop, or who I guess we should trust to protect those people who shoot us in the back, or maybe this cop here in Philadelphia. This is an article from the Daily Mail Reporter. It's called Creepy Cop Saw Attractive Woman on the Road and Looked Up Her License Plate Number so he could stalk her on Facebook. A woman outside Philadelphia attracted the attention of a creepy cop for no other reason than driving down the road and being attractive, prosecutors say. Officer Jerry Tyther, it's Tyther, seemed to like the woman so much he allegedly looked up her license plate number in the state police database so he could stalk her on Facebook and send her messages and emails. After the second time Tyther contacted her, the woman was so unsettled that she told a friend, who reported the 14-year-old police veteran to authorities. Tyther, 44, was arrested on Monday on accusations that he used the police database, which has secret personal information officers use for traffic stops and investigations, as his own personal dating site. The Philadelphia Daily News reported. The woman who was in her 20s was not identified. On September 9th, Tyther spotted the woman when she passed him on the highway in Lawrence Township, New Jersey, near Philadelphia. But she says he drove past her, the woman and waved to her. She did not wave back. He then pulled up behind the woman's car and took down her license plate number. Even though she had violated no traffic laws, the New Jersey State Police database Tyther access to look up her license plate, gave him the woman's name, date of birth, address, and other personal information. Prosecutors say he used those details to find the woman on Facebook, where he sent her a friend request. When she ignored that, he sent her an email identifying himself as the officer who waved to her. She didn't handle the unwanted contact well, prosecutors say. I think she thought it was creepy. Jason McLaughlin, a spokesman for the prosecutor's office, told Fox 29 Philadelphia. Investigators were able to use the woman's cooperation to track the moment Tyther assessed her information. Each time an officer uses the state's database, it is logged. Tyther, a veteran patrolman, should have known this. Mr. McLaughlin said he was charged with second-degree computer theft and fourth-degree motor vehicle record law violation. He was suspended from the police force without pay and released from jail. So that's an article from the Daily Mail. Looks like we still got time for one more, depending on how well I read. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we should leave it to right here, another Texas case. So this guy, Adan Yemez Carranza, it's Carranza, raped women in the back of his patrol car while on duty. Houston police officer Adan Yemez, I'm not even going to try it again, was put in jail on Friday after DNA evidence linked him to a rape he is accused of committing in June. The victim says that she was involved in a fender bender with other cars when Carranza came to the scene and directed all parties to a nearby parking lot. She says Carranza handcuffed her and put her in the back of his patrol car. He then waited until the other people involved in the accident left the scene and raped her in the back seat. He and his badge and gun and on. He had his badge and gun on the entire time. After the rape, Carranza drove the victim to the precinct and booked her for reckless driving. After her claim was investigated, DNA was collected from the back of the car and the victim, and both were matched with Carranza. He is in jail on a $30,000 bond. The story out of the Houston Chronicle. I found it on Leak21.com. That's where I found that article. So, let's see. Like I said, I could keep going and a whole bunch of articles finding stuff after another. But the whole thing is this what we're going to? Is this the kind of world we want to live in? I got one more article right here, and this one is just, it absolutely makes me laugh. Put down the chalk and nobody gets hurt. This is from the LA Weekly on disinformation.com. The ongoing battle between Occupy Los Angeles and local business interests has moved to a new front. The sidewalk Los Angeles artist Alex Schaefer was detained and arrested for misdemeanor vandalism by the LAPD for the questionable crime of chalking the sidewalk on the sidewalk in front of a Chase bank. Alex was chalking the words crooks, crime, and chaos with the Chase logo on the sidewalk around. I'm guessing they mean he used the C of the Chase logo around the Chase branch at 6th and Figueroa in downtown Los Angeles. 3 district safety patrolmen, these are private security paid for by local business interests, supported and stopped and called the LAPD. A total of 5 LAPD cars were called to the scene, as well as 3 district safety officers and a large water truck. Alex was taken into custody on misdemeanor vandalism charges. But way to go, police officers. Get those big bad criminals. How about, okay, well, I guess they're not as bad as these police down the street from them in Anaheim. Anaheim police fire on journalism as unrest continues. Anaheim police officers reportedly fired pepper balls and beanbags at demonstrators and journalists Tuesday night during the latest round of protests against last weekend's police shootings, and when they let loose dogs onto the protesters that were there later that day, when they let dogs loose and fired pepper spray and beanbags into women and children. A video posted by KPFK FM reporter Amber Stevens shows protesters gathered outside at Anaheim City Hall Tuesday afternoon chanting "No justice, no peace" at the officers guarding the door. Riot police eventually emerged from the building. According to KNBC TV, the crowd measured in the hundreds, with at least 5 people being arrested. Was the Saturday killing of Diaz was killed while running away from the police. Again, someone else is running away, which triggered a confrontation between residents that accumulated in police firing similar riot control weaponry into a crowd of women and children and a police dog, with Police Chief John Welter later said escaped from its vehicle, attacking a woman. First they said the gun had slipped its handle, attacking a woman and her baby. Residents' outrage intensified after police shot and killed another man identified by the Los Angeles Times as Joel Matthew Acevedo, after Acevedo allegedly fired at officers during the chase. You can watch the video by the Associated Press on YouTube or on infiniteunknown.net. Alright guys, well thanks. That's another show. I think everything went well. Hope y'all enjoyed it. And I can't wait to do this again. Might as well tune in tomorrow morning or tomorrow. I'll have another one dealing with Fredericksburg local news. Just happened to flip through the paper and noticed the newspaper have a whole 10-page insert calling FPV heroes. And anybody who lives in this town knows these cops are no heroes. Real heroes are in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know what? Actually, I got enough time. I'm gonna read a couple more articles. I didn't realize it. Okay, how about this one from Popeye at federal.com. Real life shooting. Oh, since we talked about the Colorado shooting earlier, where Bloomberg and Michael Moore did. Real life shooting imitates training exercise at medical school in Colorado. Like I said, by Popeye at federal.jack.com. So an article from the Post. The tragedy that played out in Aurora movie theater Friday was ironically paralleled as a classroom training learning experience in a medical school in Parker the same day. Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine is in the middle of holding specialized classes in disaster life support for 150 second-year medical students, along with response to natural disasters like hurricanes and floods and terrorist attacks. One of the scenarios being used to train the students is how to respond if a shooter fires at people in a movie theater and also use a bomb in the attack. The irony is amazing, just amazing, said Rocky Vista Dean Bruce Durbin, or Durbin, pretty sure it's Durbin. Anyways, the shooting in Aurora were incorporated into the teaching Friday, Durbin said. It made these medical students very aware of that these kinds of things can happen anywhere, he said. The events of this tragedy have helped to drive that home. TSA now says they have the right to search your smartphones. In the light of the latest case on whistleblowers, it looks like privacy in the U.S. is more and more becoming a thing of the past. The TSA has come under fire lately for hands-on searches that some say just go too far. And moreover, TSA now says they have the right to search your smartphones. This is all coming after a man by the name John Corbett filed a lawsuit against the TSA. He says they detained him for refusing to be groped and then rummaged through his belongings and read through his personal items. RT means Rest of the Day. Web producer Andrew Blake explains why the TSA should draw the line. Where the TSA should draw the line. This is an article on prisonplanet.com written by RT Rest of the Day. Red link over to that. Alright, guys. We got 15 seconds. Thank you again for all your fun. Well, have a good night, and God bless.
10 seconds.
I'm happy for that. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And since you're still on, if you followed me here on live stream while I was doing the show, I still have one more article to read, and then I can actually finish out the night. TSA expands invasion to California train stations and bus terminals. TSA inspectors with drug-sniffing dogs patrol platforms. Paul Joseph Watson from on PrisonPlanet.com Wednesday, July 25th. Footage shot at the Oceanside Transit Center in Southern California documents how the rollout of TSA workers is expanding out of the airports and into train stations and bus terminals. The clip shows TSA inspectors standing with police and drug sniffing dog sniffing dogs. TSA agents told the filmmaker that he was still allowed to take video and photos at this train station, but may get questioned for doing so. There were both There were about 6 or 7 TSA agents patrolling the station, according to the uploader of the video. The Transportation Security Administration was embarrassed earlier this year when Houstonians revolted over a program that would have seen TSA workers routinely ride city buses in the name of spotting terrorists and criminals. During a trial of the program, bus passengers were harassed and interrogated by TSA workers, prompting a backlash and an anger-filled public meeting, during which residents expressed resentment about being asked about their journey and having their bags searched. The good citizens of Houston are not stupid enough to believe Metro was actually expecting to find terrorists at a bus stop here. Instead, it was used as a pretext to harass people. And Robert Ficken, past president of the Harris County Criminal Lawyers Association, and that exercise was clearly unconstitutional. Although Police Chief Victor Rodriguez hinted that the program may return, the furious reaction of travelers has thus far prevented TSA workers from riding Houston buses since the exercise. However, the agency itself is expanding, with Congress recently giving the green light for more for extra funding that has increased the number of unannounced TSA checkpoints beyond the 9,300 that took place last year. This $25 million injection has helped fund the expansion of Viper program, which has TSA agents patrolling highways, train stations, bus terminals, and other transport hubs. As a whistleblower recently revealed to InfoWars, more TSA workers are also being used in airports at locations besides security lanes. We're doing patrols in the parking lot with dogs. We're even going as far as outside the train station because the train station is connected to the airport here, and we have guys walking around the train station, walking around the rental cars. We're inspecting cars coming into the parking garage. I mean, we're fully expanded. We're no longer just at the gate and just at the security checkpoint," said the whistleblower at a TSA supervisor. The use of TSA workers to search train passengers has proved highly controversial in the past. In one incident, TSA agents were used to conduct pat-downs of passengers, including children who had already completed their journey when arriving in Savannah. And they have a couple YouTube clips of it. What is it?
Thank you for using blogtalk radio. Goodbye.
Oh, well, I could have freaking, I guess I could have